Some may find the following disturbing. Discretion is advised.
Coming out in 3, 2, and 1. What's up? I'm Dan Aguire for the Bears Barroom Radio Network, and I haven't done one of these history podcasts in a while. I wanted to give you the background on why I'm doing this right now in general. First off, if you didn't listen to I Have a Stream with myself and Tooch and Aldo a couple weeks ago, this was myself. I was talking to Mike North about previous Bears games, and he basically was like, motherfucker, these games are 30 years ago. Why are they bothering you? But the Bears, it's their third game with them. Maybe they beat Detroit. Then you're looking at Washington and a team that you could beat. As we just said, they had Mark Rippon, and maybe the Bears get another Super Bowl. It's like so many what ifs that I can't let go within this era.
I want you to go home tonight. I want you to light a candle. Okay? I want you to sit down, look in the mirror, just wash your face with some cold water, and try to forget what happened today. Because I'm telling you, you're carrying it around like luggage. It's not going to do you anything good.
You know, everyone's having a good time there, myself included. It was a fun and environment and a day that I thoroughly relished, having the opportunity to talk to a guy that was, in the number 3 radio market in the fucking country and was a star, and someone that I listened to, or not listened to him in a traditional sense because I didn't live in Chicago, but he was actually on DirecTV with Dan Jiggets and what was it called, Monsters in the Morning or something. I think that's how I got my slice of Mike North's radio career there. But he's right. And it's with so many things in my life, I hold on to everything. I'm going to be 40 this year, so I'm trying to work through my shit. Can I have some music? What the fuck, man? As I tell people about The Sopranos, because it's come up a lot recently, I'm like, man, the cool thing about The Sopranos wasn't just Casino or Goodfellas style, mafia stuff. It was a guy who happened to be a mob boss that was working through his stuff analytically, expressing himself. And it had so many multifaceted genres wrapped into one, and that's why the show was such a big hit. And if you didn't watch it first time around, you really should. I think we talked Draft Dr. Phil into that maybe a year ago, and I think he advocates the show as well. But that's basically what I'm trying to do here. I'm holding on to all this shit, the monsters of the Midway, more like monsters of heartbreak. 30 years of this shit, man. Plus 33 years for me as a Bear fan. At least with I can remember. Like I said, my mom said in 82, I was just pointing at Bear logos and saying I liked it. So unfortunately, she can't be here to substantiate that where she died. But I have no reason to lie about that. Maybe she lied. I don't know. I don't think so, but hope not. Because at least it's a good anecdote. But part of the reason I was doing this as well is on Wednesday I couldn't sleep. I had a particularly restless day. I'd gone to sleep as soon as I got home. 3 hours into it, I'll wake up and I start fixating on things. There's a guy that works at the station here with me that tested positive for COVID-19. He has another job on the side where he's a medical massage therapist. And on Monday, the health department contacted him and said, look, bro, 3 of your clients have tested positive for COVID-19, coronavirus. So by Wednesday, he himself had tested positive. So as a result, a couple other people, I'm not going to say freaked out. I mean, they maybe were right in going and getting a test. I don't know what the results were, but what I was thinking of that day is in post-divorce world for me, finances still are tough. It costs so much to get a divorce. It cost me $10,000. So I need the job. So I started to worry, like, if we got another positive, they may close us down. Then what will I do? I won't be able to appear on I Have a Stream. Which, listening back, I'm so disappointed that my mic gets... I swear before we go on air, I test the level. They say it's good. And then when you listen back, it gets distorted. Motherfucker, that pisses me off. But anyway, so I started thinking with the Mike North thing in mind. And he's right. And Tony Sopranos, I've talked a lot about the Sopranos. Been listening to Talking Sopranos and Made Women podcasts recently. Where they rewatch the shows and talk about them. And the whole thing is therapeutic in trying to express yourself. So when I couldn't sleep, I just started thinking, like, what are the games that are really bothering me? Monsters of fucking misery, right? Which ones are bothering me? And of course, there's the obvious ones, the 2010 NFC Championship, Super Bowl 41. I didn't want to do the obvious ones that anybody else would do. What would make that compelling? So I wanted to do a countdown. Let's say the top 10 regular season Bear games that have fucked with me. The cool thing about that is it may not be games that bothered you at all. And I'll share things that are too personal, like always, because if we talk about a game, I can generally remember who I was watching it with, the circumstances behind it. I'll give you an example. The third time I ever had sex, ever, in my entire life. See? Too much information, right? I had it twice in 1995, and then didn't get it again until 1997. But specifically, the struggles of being a young teenager. But I remember the Bears in the middle of the 97 season, we were 4-12 that year. Ooh, tough. The Rick Meyer year. But it was our off week, which I believe was October 19th of 1997 was the first time I'd ever had sexual intercourse with a lady and didn't have a condom on. And it was magnificent. And see, that's the kind of stuff you can expect. Not trying to be dirty. It's just I remember the Bears were not playing that day, and so I brought her over. And the good things happened from there. Good things came from there. But anyway, everything's not sexual. I'm just trying to give an example. I can remember the circumstances behind most of these, and hopefully it makes it more personal, maybe more fun. Perhaps. We will see. Sorry, I'm getting a text from Aldo right now. He says, motherfucker, get this podcast done. That's what we're doing right now. So anyway, here we go. As I respond to him, and I'm trying to buy time. The top 10 things or games that sort of have bothered me over the years.
Number 10.
Say that again, Dave.
Number 10.
Thank you. I shall start out 1995 with Mike North in mind and trying to work through these problems. 1995. We're playing the what if game here. November the 5th, 1995. Where were you on this particular day? The Pittsburgh Steelers at Soldier Field. Pittsburgh at Chicago. The Bears are 6-2. And getting it done is Eric Kramer. Coming into week number 10, Mr. Kramer had 18 touchdowns and 4 interceptions. 18 touchdowns, 4 interceptions. Think about that for just a minute. And the Bears are 6-2. And let me impress upon this fact upon you. The Chicago Bears were 9-7 overall in 1995. Missed the playoffs. In Week 17, they had to beat Philadelphia at home and needed San Francisco to beat Atlanta, and they had won like 17 straight for real over the Falcons. And we're defending Super Bowl champions. The game is in Atlanta, but they hurt Jeff George, and you think, oh, we got it. Bobby Hebert comes in, and with like 30 seconds to go, connects with Terrence Mathis, who breaks through 4 49er tackles and would score and would eliminate the Bears from the playoffs that year. I've talked about this on air before. That's something that's always fucking bothered me. They were so close to making it. But maybe just fucking maybe, had they'd won, let's say, this Pittsburgh game, then it doesn't even come down to that. First off, if they win the Pittsburgh game, then they finish the year 10-6. They're in. And then they go to Green Bay. And you say, oh, they're definitely going to lose that. But no. They lost in week 2 in Chicago. I think it was 27-24 Monday Night Football. And then the game that Phil told me he was at Lambeau, they lost 35-28 in a shootout. So it's not like the Packers were owning us. True, they had won both games, but the Bears have been competitive in both. So it's not a shoo-in. It's hard to beat the same team 3 years. It's been done 3 times in 1 year. Tennessee did that to Jacksonville when they went to the Super Bowl in 1999. But it's an aberration, so you never know. And think about if the Bears were to won the game against Pittsburgh, they're 7-2. What does that do for the rest of the year? Now, so you got all these what-ifs out. Let's talk about the game. 6-2 Chicago. They're driving early. Robert Green, a little shifty running back, had some moments of being explosive. He takes the draw. Oh, my fucking God, he fumbles. Robert Green fumbles. Don't you know Pittsburgh's going to recover? That's going to set up Eric Pegram, former Atlanta Falcon. He'll score. It's 7-3 Pittsburgh, but it's early. It's early. Eric Kramer will respond. 6-yard touchdown pass to Mr. Curtis Conway, a guy that I loved, number 1 draft pick from 1993 for our beloved Chicago Bears. And Conway, this was his 6th straight game with a touchdown reception in 1995. Boy is balling. He's not a boy, he's a man. Grown man. So is Jeff Graham. Kramer, oh my God. Right after this, though, he's going to get intercepted. Where's the Tecmo Super Bowl music when I need it? Greg Lloyd, badass off the field. He's a martial arts expert, and he's a fucking man on the field as well. Lloyd takes it back to nearly, like the 5 or something. Pegram's going to score again, clean up that. So Pittsburgh's got the lead, but never fear. Eric Kramer, this is his year, man. His 20th touchdown pass of 1995. He's going to hit our fullback, Tony Carter, out in the flat, who's going to take it 17 yards, and he's going to take it all the way to the house. Eventually, we would be tied at 27 when West Virginia University's very own, anytime you connect West Virginia, where I'm at, WVU to the Bears, it's never gone well. See Kevin White. 2nd round draft pick Todd Sauerbrunn. What a fucking joke that was. He had a 97-yard punt in college. Of course, it rolled a bunch, but I guess they had this vision. Oh, we can control the Soldier Field, the wind. He's going to be great, and he wasn't. But in this instance, Todd Sauerbrunn got on the field, and he punted it the way he's supposed to in the coffin corner. Pittsburgh is going to be backed up to, their 2-yard line. And Neil O'Donnell's going to go back to pass, and the late Alonzo Spellman tips the ball. It's in the air. Where's Mike Brown? He's not with the Bears yet. But you know who he is? Barry Mentor. Barry Mentor with the pick. He scores! The Bears have the lead now, 34-27. We're talking late into this game, under 4 minutes to go. Touchdown. The Bears are looking at 7-2. The Bears are looking at this particular juncture of being a playoff team for sure. Again, they're 6-2. They're only going to go 9-7. This game is huge. Let's bring out the Bears defense, which again, everyone loves to pound their chest and the Bears and defense and the Bears defense when anytime they need to stop other than 85 or 84. Did they ever get the stop that we need? Blame it on the offense, I know. But to be fair, the 95 defense wasn't very good. Pittsburgh on a 4th and 6. under 2 minutes to go. 4th down and 6. Can we please get a stop? We can win the ball game. We can be 7-2. I got another story to tell you about this in a second as well, about this game. 4th and 6. The strong side blitz one. He's bringing the house. Oh, and of course, Pittsburgh picks up said blitz, and Ernie Mills is in the end zone, and he catches it. It is a touchdown. We're tied. And in overtime, the Bears didn't do anything with it. 3 and out. Pittsburgh straight down the field, setting up Norm Johnson for a 37-34 victory. The first time ever in the illustrious history of the Pittsburgh Steelers had they ever won in Chicago in 1995. A what-if scenario for sure that I need to get over. Something else I need to get over. Because, look, my uncle has since passed away. My mom has since passed away. But these two characters, my mom will receive praise for this story. Growing up in West Virginia, I did not have an NFL Sunday ticket yet, so most of my Sundays were spent watching the Steelers or the Redskins, who I guess are going to have their name changed finally. I would be watching these other teams, and at the bottom, because there's no phone, there's no cell phone for you to be like instantaneous score updates. In fact, ESPN had a line back then, a 900 number where you paid like $3 a minute to get score updates, which is just insane if you think about the context of 2020. But I'd be waiting for the updates. What are the Bears doing? What are the Bears doing? Oh my fucking God, what are the Bears doing? But this week, I knew the Bears would be playing Pittsburgh, so we're definitely going to get it. If we didn't get the Bears this week, I was going to be pissed because I got Pittsburgh every week, and if the week I didn't when they played the Bears, I would think the world's out to get me. So anyway, on Monday, I told my mom, I said, look, the Bears play at 4 our time, 3 in Chicago, but at 4 o'clock kickoff, and so we're going to get the game this week. So anyway, we had a water leak, and we didn't know where. So we were given the arduous task of digging a hole 18 inches deep until you find it. So I tell my mom, I'm like, look, man, I'm in what? 9th grade, I guess. I was like, look, I'll do it today, do it tomorrow, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, not on Sunday, because I got the Bears this week. And she understood, and she said, it's fine. My overbearing uncle, whom has passed away, and I did love, he shows up. What day you think he arrived? See, my dad's already dead by this point. But my stepdad hasn't come into the picture yet, although he does later in that season. He just had his aneurysm surgery last week and is doing well. He's out 4 to 6 weeks, but he'll be okay. At least we hope. So my uncle arrives at like 2:30 p.m. I'm like, get the fuck out of here. I didn't say it that way, but he wants to go dig this hole right before the Bears. And I was like, I'm not doing it right now. I'm just not. The Bears are about to come on. I would have done it any other day this week. I'll do it any day after this. I'm not doing it right now. He starts giving me shit, calling me lazy, calling me a pussy, all this stuff. And of course, I gave it back to him. I was so mad. I was like, you know what? If this were NASCAR, because he was a big NASCAR fan, you get that he's a redneck guy, I was like, if this were NASCAR and I told you Dale Earnhardt's in the lead, you'd be all fucking, oh yeah, I get it. And I called him a hypocrite. I think he told me he'd fuck me up if I kept running my mouth. But in the end, my mom, of course, had my back because she was like, I get it, man. Like, the Bears are his passion. He told me this. I approve it. He can watch the game. I took so much shit, though, from my uncle. I can't put that into words accurately. And it bothered me. Like, this is 25 years ago, and it still bothers me. I can't tell you how many times I said, any day but Sunday. That Sunday came around, and the Bears blew a tremendous opportunity. They had a shot to do something in 1995. They were scoring close to 30 points a game. And as always, shit the bed. Now, and also keep in mind, if you didn't know, the Bears had gone to the second round of the playoffs the year before, which is the last time the Bears had won a road playoff game, because it's the last time we've had a road playoff game. New Year's Day 95 in Minnesota, the Metrodome. It's fun knocking those guys out. Hate the Vikings. We'll talk more about the Vikings later. Do we have Mr. Letterman?
Number 9.
All right, number 9. Number 9 indeed. I'm going to take you to another what-if scenario. And another one that does tremendously bother me. And again, it's just because of what could have been. And I'm going to mix in some highlights, by the way, on this as well at various points. But what about 1991? I appeared on Waddle and Sylvie. I used to be on there a lot. Not like Greg brags, because Greg knows everybody and is ubiquitous. But for a guy that's, 12 hours away from a car ride from Chicago, I was on a little bit, circa 11, 12, 13, that era. And which I wish I had never called Carmen Yurko, because they were just they were just dicks to me. Remember the rain game in 2013? Was it 13? Yeah. When the Ravens came to Soldier Field and they had to stop it because of the rain. At the end of that game, the Bears got so lucky to hold on. They had 3 timeouts, and the Ravens were driving and just kept going down the field, and Tressman's letting the clock run, and I'm like, take a timeout. And Baltimore chews up like 5 minutes and ends up blowing it at the very end. So my whole premise was to say, man, they should use their timeouts when they realized they couldn't get a stop on defense. And I don't know, Carmen Yurko just chewed me up and acted like I was fucking retarded, and I can't say retarded, mentally challenged, and dumped the call. It's one of those things like when I met Ric Flair, he was such an asshole to me that it hurt me. Not like, oh, poor you, I'm going to fucking cry, but maybe sometimes if you're fans of somebody, it's not, maybe you shouldn't meet them, At least Marilyn Manson was great to me, because I would have been devastated if my favorite musician, other than Kurt Cobain, suddenly was an asshole. How would I react to that? I don't know, but he was great. But Waddle was always a gentleman to me, and I appreciate him so much, and I was such a fan of him on the field. I get to the point, Dan. Time is ticking. So I call in and I say, Tommy, what would have happened if the Bears would have, with the 91 season? That's the year that Waddle emerged onto the scene. Opening day against the Vikings. Touchdown. And then he had a great game against the Jets on Monday Night Football, a tremendous playoff game where, unfortunately, can't even remember the second half because he was being brutalized with concussions. But the Bears would end up finishing 1991 11-5 and have to play a wild card game at home. They would host the Dallas Cowboys, the game I just mentioned, and would be knocked out 17-13. They had the ball down 4. Harbaugh, maybe it was his first. It was his first playoff game as a starter. He would have played the year before in 90, but he got hurt at the end of the year, and Tomczak had to go. So 89, they didn't make it. 88, you're still in Jim McMahon, Mike Tomczak realm. So this is Harbaugh's first actual playoff appearance. We know he's going to do great in 95 with the Colts, but today in 91, he is struggling in late December 91 for the playoff game, and he gets picked off to lose the game. But I always thought, what if? First off, if they had come back and beaten Dallas, they go to Detroit the next week. They had beaten the Lions in Soldier Field in Week 10 and then lost up at the Silverdome on Thanksgiving, which is the day that I got measles in 1991. I'm the only motherfucker in the world after 1875 that caught the measles. I was waiting to watch the game at like, I don't know, 10 a.m. and was watching Back to the Future 3. It had just come out on VHS. Huge disappointment of that. And I looked at my arm, and it's riddled with all these bumps and shit, and I had the measles. And then the Bears lost later in the day, too. But the point is, even though Kramer lit up the Dallas Cowboys and went to the NFC Championship, maybe. What if we would have beaten them and then gone on to play Washington, whom we'd already played once before in the championship? Maybe we got to the Super Bowl. But again, maybe it doesn't come down to that. If you just got another victory earlier in the year. They had a chance for that. Oh, did they have a fucking chance for that? Maybe I should have put this game down lower in terms of how it affected me. But November the 24th, 1991, it was week 13. The Miami Dolphins come to Soldier Field. It's cold. It's kind of like the NFC Championship game in 85. As the game progresses, it's going to start snowing more. The Bears have the lead in this game. I'll condense this one because I got a lot to cover here. And I've got some highlights for this as well. Okay, first thing to mention is early in the fourth quarter. Phil and I have talked about this a lot, is that the consensus is that Kevin Butler was such a great kicker for the Bears, and he was in 85. He was around forever, but this guy missed so many kicks. He did, and he missed one that was 24 yards. Early. I mean, you could say it's Harbaugh's fault. It's a bad snap.
Miami's playing their best defense of the year. Now, we haven't seen every game. Mike, that's my guess. They're playing good, solid defense against one of the best teams in the league. And in a sense, this is a breakthrough for the Dolphins. They're playing very, very well on defense. Head up, alert. And even if they were to lose this game, there's enough room on that schedule that they can still be a playoff team.
In fact, they feel they could lose 2 of their final 5 and still get in as an 8-8 team. This will be a 24-yard attempt. Oh, bobbled snap, and he missed it. So Harbaugh unable to handle the snap cleanly, and by the time he got it down, Butler hooked it wide left.
So there you go, the highlight. Butler misses that 24-yard field goal. Keep that in mind. Still, the Bears have a 7-point lead late in the contest. I mean, really late. Maury Buford's going to come out at the Bears' own 38 to punt. We're talking about 2 minutes to go in the game. The Bears are up 7. Oh, my God. There's a bad snap over Buford's head. He's going to keep his wits about him. He's going to pick it up. He's going to attempt to, but it's fucking blocked. The punt is blocked. Again, this is not Maury's fault. Maybe we need the other Maury to come in and help me with this. But it's not Buford's fault. The snap's over his head. He does track it down. He punts. It's blocked. And it goes back to, like the 4-yard line. So, as a result, the Dolphins are going to tie the game. The Bears get one more chance in regulation. Harbaugh, to his credit, is going to drive the Bears down the field. Now, keep in mind as well, if the Bears had won this game, they would have finished 10-2. At that point, they'd have been 10-2. They're going to finish 11-5. It's week 13. So if they have 10 wins by week 13, they're probably going to get at least 12, maybe 13, and they have a bye in the first round. The Bears drive down the field. In comes Butler. In comes Butler with a chance to win it. This one from 50, but it's dead on. It's straight in the middle. Perfect. Not on a hash, not the wind, everything's fine. It's dead center. Let's go to the highlight.
And for Butler, a 50-yard attempt. That would match his longest. There is a win from his back.
Miami cannot be offside. Now, that would be disastrous if they were to move
It's 5 yards short. 5 yards fucking short. Are you kidding? He can't make a 50-yard field. It's 5 yards short. I know it's snowing. But God, this guy missed so many kicks in the clutch. I know he made the one in 87 in Green Bay. But honestly, that's like the last one he made. To go to overtime, the Bears' defense in 91 is still... Richard Dent's still there. Freak play happens. Marino throws the ball deep. We all know Dan had an arm. He throws it down the field. Mark Clayton and Donnell Wolford are both on the ground, both making a play for, the ball. I mean, Clayton's on his back, and somehow the ball just finds him. It was severely underthrown. And it's almost like one of those Packer throws where they intentionally underthrow it. And all from his ass on the field, of course, he makes the catch. That would set up Pete Stoyanovich, whom would later lose a playoff game, a Week 17 game for Kansas City in 1999. And think about this. This is digging deep. It was the Chiefs and the Raiders. And had the Chiefs won the game, if Stoyanovich made his kick, the Chiefs make the playoffs. Of course, he's going to miss that kick, and the Raiders won that game. Huge game for Tyrone Wheatley. The reason I mention that is, as a result of the Chiefs not making it, Derek Thomas was driving to the Rams playoff game and crashed and died. Had the Chiefs been playing, Derek Thomas isn't driving to the Rams game. Maybe he doesn't die. This is Final Destination shit. I know a lot of what ifs, but it's something you got to consider. But you bring in Stoyanovich as a Dolphin, and guess what happens at Soldier Field? Every kicker can make their kicks at Soldier Field except the ones for the Bears, and it's perfect, and Miami wins, and the Bears lose a game they had no business losing at home. They'd have gone 10-2. This assures them a first-round bye at worst, literally. And instead, you're looking at 9-3, and again, they're going to finish 11-5 the rest of the way. So it's just one of those what ifs, man. What could have been?
We'll be right back right after these quick messages. Every Wednesday on the Bears Barroom YouTube channel, it's 100 Proof featuring Draft Dr. Phil.
There is a problem in Chicago, and it's at the top. Let's change that and stand for that.
Shane, the smartest man in the barroom, Marsaw.
They're going to earmark these positions that they want to dump funds into, and offensive line just doesn't seem to be a big focus for Matt Nagy or for Ryan Pace.
Greg, the Chatterbaiter brags.
I just want an NFL guy at the top. Is that too much ask?
And me, Aldo Gandia. The Bears need Mitch Trubisky to win this quarterback job so that he can fulfill the promise of being the franchise quarterback. Nick Foles is not going to be the franchise quarterback. Wednesdays, 7 p.m. Central on the Bears Barroom YouTube channel. We now return to Dan Aguire's Monsters of the Heartbreak.
Number 8. Let's move on to number 8. All right. I'll come a little bit more modern for you. 2007. A game that's been bothering me since 2007. It's September the 30th, 2007, week number 4. Now, full context here. The Bears, the monsters of heartbreak that they are coming off a Super Bowl defeat the year before. Now, they've drafted a good young tight end at the end of the first round in Greg Olsen. G-Reg. But a gentleman who's appeared on Bears Barroom and local for me, he played at Powell Valley High School, which has been since consolidated to Union. Mr. Thomas Jones was on Bears Hour Live and 100 Proof. The Bears just dumped him for nothing to the Jets. Nothing. So as a result, the offense is supposed to be taking this step forward. Rex is supposed to be getting better. everyone shits on Rex, but he did help lead the Bears to the Super Bowl, and he was 21-14 as a starter. Facts, man. And the defense was still intact. In fact, Nathan Vasher and Charles Tillman both were free agents after the 06 season, and the Bears re-signed both of them. Maybe Tommy Harris wasn't the same guy after his hamstring injury. And Mike Brown, by this point, Mike cried on opening day against the Chargers when he got hurt because of just the passion. Because he had been out in 04, 5, 6, and now 7. So you're without Mike Brown again. Tommy Harris is not the same. But the defense is supposed to be the staple of the team. That's what I hear all the time. Yet, the Bears are 1-2 heading into this game. They lost a heartbreaker to the Chargers, the one that Mike Brown was injured in. I think it was like 10-3, so it's not like that's the defense's fault. San Diego had just gone 14-2 the year before and then fired Marty Schottenheimer after going 14-2. So they're a good team as well. So there's no shame in losing in their field on opening day. Week 2, they win against Kansas City. I need to mention that Lauren watched that game with me, and I'll get to her in a minute, week 4. But that one went well. You know, Hester had a couple kicks returned for touchdown. And so the Bears are 1-1, then they get blown out at home, annihilated by the Dallas Cowboys on Sunday Night Football. And then Lovey decides he's going to bench Rex Grossman. Perhaps that's what he should have done going into the second half of Super Bowl 41. But we'll never know. But week 4, it's going to be the first start of the Brian Griese administration. And the girl I was talking about, Lauren, beautiful woman. And I'd gone after her the entire years from January on. By summer, I'm finally fucking her. And not just in a nefariously dirty way, like she's my girlfriend too. But football season is just getting going, and she's not a sports fan. She did watch the Chiefs game with me in week 2, but the Bears were, won rather handily. So week 4 will be the first time she witnessed me crestfallen from a game. That created a negative impression on her. I'll tell you the rest of that story in a minute. But September 30th, 2007, Brian Griese's first start. There are a lot of names on this sheet that I don't remember. The Bears are trailing 3-0. And I mean by the Lions players, not ours. But the Bears are trailing 3-0. And Brian Griese is going to hit our big free agent acquisition in 2005. A man that would later say Chicago was the venue for receivers to go and die. Muhsin Muhammad would catch a touchdown. It was 7-3 Bears. And then madness would begin to manifest. The Bears, up 7-3, suddenly find themselves in a bit of a rhythm, and they're driving right back down the field again. It's 1st and goal. We're right before the half, like 30 seconds to go. Griese's eyeing Bernard Berrien the whole time. I loved Berrien. I wanted him re-signed. Throw to Berrien. He forces it. Oh, my fucking God. It's intercepted. So it's intercepted right before the half, but the Bears are still up 7-3. Early third. John Kitna back to pass for Detroit. He's going to be sacked by Mark Anderson, the guy who had a good 2006 and didn't do much after that, but he's going to hit Kitna. Fumble, and it's recovered by Brandon McGowan. Do you remember Brandon McGowan? It's 1st and goal again for the Bears. 1st and goal. And wouldn't you know, Griese's looking for Berrien again, and it's intercepted again, this time by a defensive lineman, Ernie Sims. Griese's second pick of the day, 2 at the goal line. I thought that was Rex that did that. I thought that was Cutler that did that. Nope, it's just Bears quarterbacks in general. Even so, the Bears would still get 2 Robbie Gould kicks. It's 13-3 going into the fourth quarter. Keep that in mind. The Bears are up 13-3. And if you win this game, you get back to 500. Because, again, the thought process, the narrative is we're going to get back to the Super Bowl this year, and we're going to win it. Right? Urlacher, Briggs, and Peanut, Lovey, the cover 2. Fuck, I hated the cover 2. But this is our defense. We're going to be back. And maybe you get back to 500 here. Maybe. We'll see, because the Bears are going to finish this year 7-9. Ugh. But 13-3 going in the fourth quarter. You're not playing the Patriots. We'll talk more about those cheating fucks in a minute. You're not playing at Lambeau. You're playing the Lions, whom in 2008, 1 year away, they're not going to win a fucking game. So you get the point. They're not a powerhouse at this point by any. Barry Sanders is not there. Calvin Johnson's not there. You can hold on here. So you would think. Well, Kitnam finds a guy named Sean McDonald, 4-yard touchdown. It's 13-10, fourth quarter. Greasy's going for Berrien again. Oh, my God. He's intercepted a third time trying to throw to Bernard Berrien. A guy named Keith Smith. Who? Keith Smith, I don't know. He took it back to the house, those 64 yards, and suddenly the Bears are trailing 17-13. But what would happen in a lot of these games during the Lovie Smith era, especially in this specific era of 06-07, the Lions had to kick off. Number 23 is back there, and Devin Hester would go all the way. 97 yards. And in a blink of an eye, the Bears go from, oh my God, we're losing a game we shouldn't be losing. We've had 2 interceptions at the goal line. He's been picked off a third time, and now we got the lead. All right. Devin Hester, 97 yards, touchdown Bears. It's 20-17. There is a God. We're going to overcome this adversity somehow. Second down and 10 for Detroit from their own 37, and Kitna would hit a young guy named Mike Furry. You may know him because he is the Bears wide receiver coach and a jacked to the max beast. 49 yards for Mr. Furry. That would set up a touchdown from Kitna to Troy Walters, and Detroit, just like that, is back in front 24-20. A guy that would be with the Bears in 2008, Virginia Tech, right down the road from me, Virginia Tech's very own Kevin Jones would score. That would make it 30-20. In theory, it'd be 31-21 Detroit, and probably out of like, well, that's it. But the extra point would be blocked. So as a result, the Bears are down 10, 30-20. So you're talking about a field goal and a touchdown as opposed to 2 touchdowns. So here we go. Down 10. There's no reason we should be down 10, but we are. And they're driving again. And again, Greasy's already been picked twice at the goal line. It's 4th and goal. 4th down and goal. Stick route. Desmond Clark. Touchdown Bears. Start singing Bear down because the Bears have scored. It is 30-27 after Robbie makes the extra point. But one thing Robbie never did successfully, I don't mean that in jest, it's not like an exaggeration, he never ever once with the Bears successfully kicked an onside kick. Never, not once. And this one was going to be disaster. Trailing 30-27. Robbie goes for the onside kick. It's picked up by a guy named Casey Fitzsimmons, whom I do not remember. And this motherfucker took it all the way back. Touchdown Lions. 37-27. That would be the final ball game. And keep in mind, going into the fourth quarter, the Bears led 13-3, and Detroit would finish with 37 points. And they had they had an extra point block, so they scored 35 points in the quarter in theory. Officially 34. Again, an extra point block. 34 points in the fourth quarter. Disaster. It dropped the Bears to 1-3, and needless to say, ruined the idea, the dream of getting back to the Super Bowl. You lose in Miami, hey, we'll get to Arizona this year. Not happening. 1-3, it's a hole they couldn't get out of. Oh, God. It's one of those I just have to find a way to get over, right, Mike? Mike North?
Number 7.
All right, number 7 is called out right there. I don't know if I don't even know if I want to talk about this, honestly. You may remember it as the Tim Tebow game. Oh, I need to tell you the rest of Lauren's story. So Lauren had never, she's there for that fourth quarter with Detroit scoring at will. Greasy's being intercepted over and over. And I don't think I was I wasn't Marceauing the remotes or anything. I've only done that once. I'll tell you about that later when the game comes up. I wasn't breaking shit. I was visibly upset. I don't think it warranted me being dumped. I really don't. And maybe the two things don't correlate. But later that week, because you didn't mention me like in the message, my behavior during the game. But my friend Michael's mom had died. We grew up on the same street. So I was going to definitely go to Pam's service. She died really young. She had lupus. And it just fucked her up. She got diagnosed at like 35. And in like 5 years, she had lost like her feet and her fucking arm. And like, it just tore her up. And she died. So so Lauren and I leave my apartment. At the time, I lived in an apartment. And I'm like, hey, I'll see you later. I'm going to Michael's mom's wake. And she knew that. So she called my old school landline. My number was 425-7193. 304-425-7193 was my old number, my old landline. I remember that. And she called knowing I was going to the wake. She didn't tell me face to face. She didn't even write me a letter or an email. Or by that time we had text messaging. No, none of that. She called and dumped me on my answering machine while I was at the wake. And a big part of it was I wouldn't do ecstasy with her on her birthday. Even though I told her many times, I don't care if you smoke weed or do ecstasy. I don't want to be at the bitch. It's like shooting up. I don't want hepatitis. But weed is certainly not, on par with heroin or opioids. But having said that, I said, when we got together, I was like, I want you to know I'm cool with you doing it, but please be cool with me not doing anything, including weed. My dad had a drug problem, and I knew that was never going to be me. At least I didn't want it to be. And she was cool with it, and then I think the Bears-Lions behavior of mine probably led to it. But she dumped me allegedly because I wouldn't do ecstasy with her on her birthday, which is bullshit. But, okay. 2011. Oh, my God. This is just unmitigated disaster. The week before... No. 2 weeks before. Is it 2 weeks? This is week 14. Yeah, it's week 11. Week 11, the Bears are going to lose Jay Cutler for the rest of the regular season and the Chargers' victory at Soldier Field because of Johnny Knox, whom would sustain a terrible career-ending injury. And I don't wish anything bad on Johnny, but this play was his fault. Jay got intercepted as a result of Knox and then had to make the tackle and broke his thumb. Now, keep in mind, it's another one of those what-ifs. The Bears are 7-3 at the time Cutler gets hurt. 7-3. They're going to finish this year 8-8. Terrible. But if they'd have won one more game, for example, they would have made the playoffs. Just one more game. And guess what? Number 6 would have been back for the start of the playoffs. Not saying, because you might hate Cutler and say, well, what the fuck's that mean? So he's just going to throw 3 or 4 picks and you're still going to lose? Okay, maybe, whatever. But the fact is he was ready to go for the wild card game if we can just get him there. And one of the losses, which I debated putting on here, was to the listless, not the Super Bowl 54 champion Kansas City Chiefs, the 2011 edition, which I think were led by Brody Croyle. Was that the quarterback then? The vaunted Bears defense. Oh, my God. In Soldier Field, they gave up a Hail Mary, Doug Flutie against Miami kind of shit. It right at the half to lose to Kansas City in a listless, just disgusting effort by the whole team. After Cutler goes down, the Bears are led by Caleb Haney, whom had played well as the third-string quarterback in the 2010 NFC Championship game. After Jay got hurt, Todd Collins came in and looked like the worst bum you've ever seen. So he was so bad, they said, fuck it, man, just put in this kid no one's ever heard of named Caleb Haney. What do we got to lose? Only the Super Bowl. Only a trip to the Super Bowl on the line. That's how bad Todd Collins was. But Caleb Haney got us in the game before getting picked off by B.J. Raji, a 450-pound lineman with a pick six. Oh, my God. But monsters of heartbreak. So we think, okay, maybe we got something with Haney. We didn't have anything with Haney. Donovan McNabb was sitting at the house saying Chicago's my home team. The Vikings had cut him. He was yearning to play at the Bears, and of course the Bears didn't sign him. Later at the end of this season, we at least got Josh McCown, and he would get a win in Minnesota and almost one in Green Bay too, which again would have put us in. But back to the Tebow game. Caleb Haney, December the 11th, 2011. But you can't even blame Caleb Haney for this one. Early in the game, Marion Barber III is going to bounce left, a little jump cut, stutter step. He's going to beat his guy on the back. Oh, it's a touchdown. And he's going to do a backflip. He's going to boast. Looks like former Tampa Bay Buccaneer Horace Copeland, if you remember the standing flips that he would do. Not that Tampa scored all that much then, but when he did, he always did the backflip, and that's what made me think of it. Marion Barber backflips his way to a 7-0 Bears lead. Now, they're in Denver, so you got the altitude. It's like if everyone wants to besmirch the steroid era in baseball, Denver is the steroid era for kickers. And Robbie would come out and nail a 57-yard field goal, and the Bears led 10-0. The Bears would lead 10-0 all the way to deep into the fourth quarter. And for all the shit that I give Tim Tebow, John Fox is Denver's coach here, by the way. At least Fox decided he could change the offense to suit the needs of a quarterback that can't throw. But can Tebow just not throw? Is that true? Against the vaunted Bears defense. Now, Urlacher's going to get hurt. And for all intents and purposes, he's done. He comes back for one more year, but he gets hurt in the last game of the season in the Metrodome. Or were they still in the Metrodome? Yeah. A major right's going to hit his knee, but that hasn't happened yet. That's week 17. So he's still healthy despite being older. And not that he is responsible for the passing game. But I'm just saying the Bears defense can make any quarterback look good. It's just too bad that that Trubisky hasn't gotten to play against our defense. Or Cutler, if he'd have been on another team. Because, look, Tim Tebow was 21 of 40 for 236 yards in this game. 21 of 40. How many times did Brock Osweiler beat us? How many times is a guy like, Colin Kaepernick is making his first start of his career. The Bears defense will be tough on a young rookie that no one's... No, they won't be. He's going to look like he's playing fucking Madden. Why is that? Tim Tebow can't throw, but he can today. And he did win a playoff game that year against the Steelers, but okay. 2 minutes and 15 seconds to go. Tim Tebow to Demaryius Thomas. Touchdown Broncos. It's 10-7. But you have to remember that the Broncos only have a single timeout to go plus the 2-minute warning. So what I'm trying to say is the Bears could and should be able to run out the clock. So all's well. It's going to go the way we need it. We just have to recover the onside kick, and we're going to. So now we got to run out the clock.
Bears defense today, barring a turnover right now, I don't think Denver can get the ball back. It goes beyond 5 to 6 seconds. There's Barber, staying back. Oh, wow! What a mistake! A huge mistake by Marion Barber, stopping the clock. The Bears would have been able to run the clock all the way down with 2 plays, the 40-second clock in between both. And they would have been able to let the clock run down prior to the punt, but Barber goes out of bounds, stopping the clock with a minute 55. It is now 3rd down and 5.
Nick Roach recovered the onside kick. You just heard the highlight. Marion Barber, it's 2nd down and 10, but for no reason at all, the Bears are running on the short side of the field near the fucking sideline, which again is a stupid play call, Mike Martz. What are you doing? But Barber, just fall down, man. Have situational awareness, for fuck's sake. He doesn't. He goes out of bounds. As a result, the Bears cannot run the clock out. And as a result, they have to punt. And consequently, Matt Prater, whom we know well from the Detroit Lions now, is going to nail a 59-yard field goal. The game is tied at 10. With about 2 minutes to go, the Broncos were down 10-0, and now it's 10-all because Marion Barber didn't stay in bounds. Unbelievably cruel, where the football gods in overtime, the Bears are driving. They're around the Denver 35-yard line. Come on, Robbie can nail that. It's 52 yards right there. We're going to win the game. Oh, my God, Marion Barber just fumbled. He didn't. He fucking fumbled. He showboated early, then he didn't stay in bounds, and then he fumbled. Denver with the recovery. Prater from 51, it's good. Denver 13, Chicago 10, and the Bears are officially T-bowed. And again, what would happen there? The Bears would not make the postseason. But perhaps they could have and should have.
Number 6.
Oh, God. Number 6 and 5 are kind of going to go together here. They're both from the 2002 season. Once again, context is important. Context is king. Liking this song, man. 2002, week number 3. It is September the 22nd. It is 2002. Now, I like that one too. Super Bowl 10 highlights, right? Listen to that bass. Okay. The Bears had gone 13-3 the year before and had lost in their first playoff game, which was the divisional round, to Philly at home. The last game ever at the old Soldier Field. Because they're going to tear that motherfucker down and build the Soldier Field that you know now on top of the old one. I know, spaceship, blah, blah, blah. Aesthetically, it looks like shit. Aldo says it's a great place, a venue to watch the game, though. Maybe you put a retractable top on it. Don't. Maybe you have Super Bowls there. But then again, it only holds, 60-some thousand. Anyway, the Bears botched that, too. But in 2002, the Bears were going to have to play all their home games. I think it's a 2-hour ride to Champaign, to the University of Illinois. Lovey country. I'm glad you got rid of that fucking beard, man. Champaign, Illinois. And the horrible, old, shitty turf that they had. Maybe they had field turf that year, but I don't know if it's Astro. I can't remember. Either way, the Bears had just a plethora of injuries that year. Catastrophic injuries on that field. But it started out well. They had a miraculous comeback on opening day against the Vikings, whom were still very good, with Randy Moss, West Virginia boy, right up the road from me. Dante Culpepper was still amazing. Hadn't blown his knee out yet. Could run, could throw. That's a guy, man, if he'd have stayed healthy. Really could have been a great player, in my opinion. But Culpepper is... the Vikings are coached by Mike Tice, who the Bears fans, not big fans of. But Culpepper, and they've got Chris Carter still. They're a formidable opponent, but the Bears they snatched victory from the jaws of defeat. And Jim Miller would throw a touchdown at the very end of the game. He's an asshole on TV. His career never backed up his mouth, but in this case, he threw a touchdown to David Terrell, the number 1 pick out of Michigan from 2001, who actually had a fine rookie year, and obviously started out 0-2 well. In addition to that, game-winning touchdown, the Bears are 1-0. Winning it at the end, just the way they did 0-1. And then, in week 2, they went to Atlanta. A game where Michael Vick, again, right down the road, Virginia Tech for me. Blacksburg, he's from Newport News, Virginia, but Tech is really close. And he would accuse the Bears of trying to hurt him. So they were intentionally trying to hurt him. I don't know if that's true or not, but it would come down to a pressure situation again. The Falcons missed a field goal. The Bears won the game 14-13. They're 2-0. And then here we are, week 3 in Champaign, Illinois. The Saints are in town. They're 2-0 now. I'm pulling this. I'm going real deep into my ass for this one. The last time the Bears had been 2-0 to start a year before this 0-2 season was 1991, when they were coached by Mike Ditka. I already talked about 91. The last time the Saints were 2-0 was 1998, when they were coached by Mike Ditka. Granted, that's paper thin, but both teams are 2-0. And the Bears started out on fire, Jack. Des White. I always liked Des White. What's Des White doing now? And where the fuck did he go? But 10 yards, touchdown from Jim Miller. The Bears are up 10-0. And then the Saints would come out with an all-out blitz, kind of like the hit that Terry Bradshaw would sustain during Super Bowl X, the one that concussed him, and it's a dirty hit. He got hit up front, and they had to carry him out, basically. That's the kind of play that Miller took. Helmet to helmet, boom, right in the fucking face, man. But he stood in. Give him credit. Again, he's an asshole on TV. He just is very, very arrogant. But in this instance, he showed he has some fucking balls, man. Takes a big shot. Stood in there, and he connects down the field with Marty Booker. Touchdown Bears. Fuck your blitz. Fuck your dirty hit. The Bears are up 17-0. How about that? Aaron Brooks is going to fumble. Brian Knight. I have to confess, I was like, Brian Knight? Isn't he a pop singer or something? Didn't he marry J-Lo? I don't know. I don't know who Brian Knight is at this point. I forgot him. But he recovered. And the Bears, they bring up Paul Ettinger, my guy. Loved Ettinger. Never missed a game-winning kick for the Bears. Never. I don't think he missed one for the Vikings either. The dude was clutch. Michigan State. So was Jim Miller, for that matter. But, okay. Ettinger's good, and it is 20-0 Bears. The Bears are going to be 3-0. They're up 20 points. What could go wrong? Well, let me tell you. I'm going to play the highlight of this one. And keep in mind, the Bears had just finished 13-3. Second round of the playoffs. They're 2-0. They're up 20.
There's been a couple of great innings. Lance back over. Johnson loose the football again. And the Saints have recovered. Leon Johnson for the second time having trouble on a return. And it's recovered by the Saints inside the 10-yard line.
We just said, and we wondered, remember we were talking about how are the Bears going to handle being up 20-0 early in the second quarter. And so far, they've not handled it well.
Jerry Wilson on the recovery. Did Johnson have trouble with the sun? Looks like it hit off his helmet, off his face mask.
Yeah, he absolutely lost that in the sun, Kenny.
This is going to start a shitstorm. I mean, that they can't recover from. One play is going to turn this game around. Go to the highlight. So, before the play even begins, Fox is showing you the sunlight. It's bright. It's early. I mean, I'm telling you, it's September 22nd. And Leon Johnson is trying to shield it. And he's got his hands up. And if you heard the highlight, the ball, it hit him in the fucking face mask. His second fumble. That set off, like I said, a chain reaction. To use whatever analogy you want, the dominoes begin to fall. And the Saints down 20. Aaron Brooks touchdown. Aaron Brooks touchdown. It's 20-14. Aaron Brooks to Joe Horn. It's 21-20. Ettinger would make a field goal. The Bears maybe can still hold on to this somehow. They lead 23-21. Aaron Brooks to a guy that would get into a lot of legal trouble, but I still think won a Super Bowl with the Patriots later. Dante Stallworth would score for New Orleans. And they went for two and they got it. And suddenly they're up 29-23 in the blink of an eye. Again, trailing 20-0. Leon Johnson fumbles, and now it's 29-23 Saints. But the Bears would drive. One more chance. Miller threw in a triple coverage, and he's picked off at the goal line by Sammy Knight, and that is good night. The Bears would fall 29-23. So they go from looking at 3-0. Again, 2-0, up 20. Leon Johnson fumbles. The whole momentum turns. They lose this game 29-23. What would happen after this? The Bears would lose 8 straight. 7 more games after this. They would finish the year 4-12. What happens if the Bears win this fucking game and go to 3-0? Maybe they just finish 5-11. Maybe their destiny was to be fucking terrible. I don't know. But it makes me wonder, makes me ponder, makes me just crestfallen at the idea of what could have been. Again, that's what Mike North is telling me. I need to have some catharsis and get rid of this shit. So that's what I'm trying to do. The next one I definitely need to get rid of, and it's also from 2002.
Number 5.
The New England Patriots. I've got so much venom for the New England Patriots. Charles Woodson hit Tom Brady in the 2001 AFC Divisional Playoff game in the snow. He fumbled. Brady knew it was a fumble. In the highlights subsequently on NFL Network, he said, I was pissed off. I knew I fumbled. I had blown the game. Of course, the tuck rule that no one had ever heard before. They had to find a way for the Patriots because of 9/11 or whatever. I don't know, but we're all Patriots. And then they started no, we don't even have individual introductions at the Super Bowl. We're going to run out as a team. We're all Patriots. Fuck that, man. So they gave the Patriots the ball back. They fucked the Raiders. And the Patriots for 20 years have now been cheating relentlessly. They just got docked another third-round pick for cheating again. They've been videotaping everybody. The Rams Super Bowl 36 got them in all kinds of trouble, as you know, Spygate. But when the Bears hired John Fox, they had Jake Delhomme on the radio talking about, I think this was on Waddle and Sylvie, talking about what it would be like to play for Fox, who used to be with Carolina. And Delhomme said in Super Bowl 38, they had scored 3 points in the first half. New England was in the backfield. They knew their snap count. They knew all their plays. They go into the half, and they say, we got to change something. I mean, what the fuck? It's like they know what's coming. Carolina explodes in the second half, like 29 points. They still fall short, but they had to change their entire game plan because the Patriots have been cheating. They videotaped the Eagles. They had the Seahawks hand them a Super Bowl. I mean, look, I would love bitterness here. I would love to have one of those championships, if not all of them. But they have been cheating the whole way. And people are so mad still over Bonds and Aguire and Sosa. They ought to be mad at them deflating the fucking ball. They've been cheating for 20 fucking years. And I hope that they're 4-12. And I hope Tampa's 4-12. And specifically, I want Tampa to lose in Chicago if that's a game that's actually played because of coronavirus. Who knows? But Brady has never lost to the Bears. Did you know that? Did you know in 2002 he should have? Another one of those miraculous Tom Brady New England calls. All right, so the Bears are in the midst of that losing streak that I told you about. After losing to the Saints, they're now, this is going to be the 7th game of 8 straight losses. They're finally going to beat Detroit in Week 12. At that time, the Lions had lost like 24 straight road games, so I'm so glad it wasn't against the Bears. They broke that streak. But November the 10th, 2002, week number 10, New England at Champaign for the Bears. The Bears would start Chris Chandler, whom had taken the Falcons to the Super Bowl in 98, had beaten the 15-1 Minnesota Vikings in the Metrodome. Of course, Gary Anderson had to miss, but, you know, it happens. But the point is, Chandler had some success, but he was always hurt with the Bears. He started this game, and guess what? He left with an injury. In comes Jim Miller, who at this point has nothing left. He can barely throw. So as a result, the Bears are doing a bunch of tricky shit that day, like halfback passes, fullback passes from Leon Johnson. And then later, I'll play the highlight. They used Marty Booker, but I'll get to that. It's 6-all at the half. Brady's going to fumble, which he used to do a lot. And they actually don't take it away from us. Phillip Daniels with the recovery. And then Jim Miller would find Stanley Pritchett in the end zone from 11 yards out. And the Bears led 13-6. Cue the magical highlight. Marty Booker. The reverse, he threw the bomb to Marcus Robinson, who had such a beautiful 1999 year, but then got hurt in 2000. Or was it 2001 he got hurt? Yeah, 01. It never was the same. But that made it 20-6. Then the A-Train, the 2001 NFC Offensive Rookie of the Year, a guy I liked a lot, second-round pick from Michigan, and he scores in the Bears' lead 27-6. The Tom Brady, Bill Belichick defending Super Bowl champion New England Patriots trail 27-6. But then Tom Brady would hit his running back Kevin Falk out on a wheel route that looks just like the play with Plunkett in Super Bowl 15 with the Raiders. And Falk is gone. Eventually, just for the sake of times, it's 9:42 for me, and I got to start wrapping this up within the next 45 minutes or so, I hope. It would be 30-25 Bears. New England would go for 2. They wouldn't get it, so it's 30-25. So it looks like the Bears have this big lead in the third quarter, but they're going to hold on. It's okay. It's okay. Under a minute to go. Brady is going to be picked off by the late Brian Robinson. Brian Robinson will take the ball. Now, he's a big man. He pins it against his shoulder pads and runs with it about 4 yards. Now, this is not on the sideline. There's nobody around him. It's not like he's contesting it or, again, are his feet down. No, Brian Robinson has the ball. He runs with the ball. The call on the field is an interception because it was. However, the New England Patriots are the New England Patriots, and Brady's not allowed to do anything negative. They go to the review, this asinine review. There's no way they're going to overturn this, right? Not even to the Patriots. They fucking overturn it. They say he didn't have control. He's running uncontested for 4 yards with the ball against his shoulder pads after intercepting it. And wouldn't you know, the Patriots then, and another bullshit call, Brady would throw it up on 3rd and 20. David Patton in the back of the end zone gets 1 foot down. He attempts to drag the other one, but the tip of his toe as he's dragging is touching the line. He's out of bounds. His other foot, he tried to drag it, but it's touching clearly the out-of-bounds line. But don't worry, the call on the field is upheld as a touchdown. And the Bears lose the game 33-30. A game that they led 27-6 and 2 horrific calls. My friends at the time thought that weren't Bear fans. Thought, well, the Patton one was so close. Maybe anybody gets that call at the end. If that sentiment's accurate, perhaps. But everyone agreed with me the Brian Robinson thing was bullshit. Bullshit! New England, once again, stealing a game that they have no business winning. I guess that's part of their charm, right? I don't know, man. Bears lose again. Trying to get over this stuff, Mr. North. Oh, God. I got some doozies for you now. Can we go to the next one? Number 4. Number 4. Okay. 2012. This would eventually be Lovey's last season with the Bears. They started the year 7-1. I already told you in 2011 they were 7-3. Cutler gets hurt. Caleb Haney, you know the story. But in 2012, they're going to come back and take care of business. They're 7-1. Cutler gets hurt against the Texans. Jason Campbell gets annihilated by the 49ers, and Colin Kaepernick makes his NFL debut. They blow us out on Monday night. The Bears come back and win a game. So they go from 7-1 to 8-2. So they're 8-2 heading in to week number 13. Is that right? Let me think. They were 7-1. Fuck. This is December the 2nd, 2012, week number 13. Yeah, so they had a bye. They would have had 11 games. Maybe they're 8-3 here. They've gone through a little bit of a funk after losing the game to the Texans on Sunday Night Football. Obviously, there's a similar funk with me trying to recap this game. Seattle had the start of a great defense, as you know. They had a rookie named Russell Wilson. So their pieces are in place, but still, the Bears had no reason to lose this game. None at all. Early on, Jay would go play action and hit his buddy from Vanderbilt, Earl Bennett. 12 yards and a somersault. You love it. 7-0 Bears. Anytime the Bears somersault, it's never good. Second quarter, 4th and 1 from the Seattle 15. Lovey always goes for it on 4th down when he shouldn't. Have you noticed that? And it's always a bad call. It's always like the fullback trap. Where's Jason McKee when we need him? He's been on Bears Barroom. The play never worked. It's not McKee's fault. The call was always bad. But second quarter, it's 4th down and 1. The Bears lead 7-0. Why not go up 10? We're going to run Michael Bush, whom I liked. He never really got a chance at the Bears, but Michael Bush is stopped. Well, wouldn't you know it, Seattle's going to drive right down the field after that. Marshawn scores. It's 7-7. But the Bears eventually, Robbie will kick a field goal. They lead 10-7 at the half. Okay. Wait a minute. No. The Seahawks lead 10-7 at the half. I'm sorry. See, I got this one all fucked up. But Cutler will hit Forte on a slant, and the Bears are back out in front. The good guys are up 14-10. And this is where all the madness begins. And once more, I point out the monsters of the Midway. Brian Urlacher. This would be Urlacher's last game as a Bear, by the way. I had so many hopes in 2012. Not just because they started 7-1. You had the thought, man, you see how valuable Jay is? You go 7-3 and you get hurt and you finish 8-8. And then they start 7-1. I'm at the start of my relationship with Marissa. By this point, we're engaged. I proposed a little more than a year and a half in. And in about 2 years, we're going to be married from this point. You have all these hopes and dreams and aspirations, and it feels like that's going to last forever. And motherfuck if the Bears aren't going to do something this year. Maybe they do, because if you know the story, the Bears are going to finish 10-6 this year and not make the playoffs. And it came down like 1995. They had to win a game at the end. They did in Detroit. In this case, they needed Green Bay to beat Minnesota. Green Bay fucks around, and Aaron Rodgers is outdueled by Christian Ponder. Packers laid down in that game. Minnesota got to go to Green Bay the next week, and they beat them by 40+, the Packers did. But when they could have helped the Bears, that's when they're like, well, let's not really try. But it wouldn't have to have been that way if the Bears got another victory. How about the Seattle game? The Bears lead 14-10. The Seahawks have to start at their own 3-yard line. It's like Elway in Cleveland. Except not 98 yards, but 97. The vaunted Bears defense allows Seattle to go 12 plays, 97 yards, in 3 minutes plus. And wouldn't you know it, Golden fucking Tate. I hate Golden Tate's guts. Golden Tate with a touchdown. 6 guys missing. And Seattle takes the lead with seconds to go. 17-14. But then, a miracle.
Care about this because they started the day a game behind the Bears in the NFC North. 2 timeouts for Chicago. Cutler's going to heave it. And there's Brandon Marshall. He gets out of bounds. 9 seconds to play. A 56-yard pass play. Jake Cutler avoiding the rush.
let that happen if you're Seattle on defense. They never touched him going down the field, and then he just uses that big body. He just turns around and shields off the two defenders, and it looks easy.
10th catch of the game for Marshall, 165 receiving yards as Pete Carroll can only watch.
Jay's got an arm. Just fucking throw it, man. Cutler deep to Brandon Marshall in front of Richard Sherman. He caught it. And then Marshall, the field awareness, he dives out of bounds. That would set up Robbie's kick, and it was good. And the Bears, just like that, have tied it. They've tied it. It's 17-all. We're going to overtime. Shouldn't have been there. The defense gives up a 97-yard drive. And again, we're the Bears. We play defense. Lovie Smith, we love our defense. That didn't sound like Lovie at all, but that's not the point. So what happens? The Bears lose the toss. Seattle receives. And the defense allows Seattle then to go 12 more plays, over 7 minutes of the quarter, 80 yards. Cutler, who had just led the miraculous comeback, is standing on the sidelines. Robbie just made the kick, standing on the sidelines. Russell Wilson to Sidney Rice, touchdown Seahawks. Ball game. 23-17 Seattle. Overtime. Done. So the last two drives of the game, again, Seattle goes 12 plays, 97 yards, touchdown, and then 12 plays, 80 yards, touchdown. The defense with a complete, unacceptable, unequivocal fucking meltdown. But yet, again, as Bear fans, we suck each other's dicks about our fucking defense. God damn it, the defense has not been great since 1985. 2005. But what happened that year? They let the fucking Panthers blow up for 29 points at Soldier Field in the cold. But the D had been great all year until the fucking playoff game. When it matters, the Bears defense is never there. Never. And I know someone's going to take exception to that, but fuck, man. You do the podcast and tell me how I'm wrong. All right, where are we at? Oh, God. The next one is just equally maddening, if not more. And it's a huge what if.
Number 3.
Okay. For Cutler haters, this is a pivotal moment. October the 12th, 2008. It's week number 6. The Bears will be at Atlanta for 1 p.m. kickoff, or noon Chicago time, but they're in Atlanta, so we'll say 1 p.m. Eastern. The Bears at Atlanta. The Bears in 2008 will finish the year 9-7. Week 17's at Houston. If they beat the Texans, they make the playoffs. They don't beat the Texans, and guess what? They don't make the playoffs. But maybe it doesn't have to come down to that. If they win another game, like let's say this Falcon game, the Bears finish 10-6, and guess what? They're in. And if you're a Jay Cutler hater, the Bears, if they make the playoffs in 08 with Kyle Orton, are not going to make that trade on April 2nd, 2009. So we're talking a franchise-altering game. If they do not blow this game in Atlanta, what you will see is absolutely unforgivable how they lost. But if they don't lose it, the Cutler trade never happens. And I love Cutler. I'm just saying. That's it. Here we go. Rookie quarterback Matt Ryan leads the Falcons to an early lead at 12-3, another listless early effort for the Bears offense. But our rookie running back number 22, whom I was never a fan of, Matt Forte, would score a touchdown on a 3rd-and-1 play. That made it 12-10. The Bears are in the game. It's in the third quarter. Again, they're down 12-10. Deep down the field, because, you know, the seam route's always open against that cover 2. And it would be Matt Ryan to a guy Waddle always referenced on the radio, Harry Douglas. Harry Douglas catches a deep pass that would set up his partner, Roddy White, for a short touchdown. And the Falcons were up 19-10. All right. You're down 19-10. This is another one of those Lovey calls. You're down 19-10. It's 2 scores. Why not just take the fucking field goal? You need one anyway. 4th and goal, 19-10, Atlanta. What happens? Lovey says they were going for it. Again, untimely. Anytime he would go for it. Am I on the music? Let's start it over then. This has last longer than I imagined, which I hope you still enjoy. All right. So, 4th down and goal. Lovey says let's go for it, and Matt Forte is stopped. You need 2 scores, but, fuck it, right? Forte stopped. Atlanta has a long field. They're backed up. They have to punt. And Robbie would kick a field goal right afterwards, thankfully, so it's 19-13. So, all's well and ends well, I guess, but you're losing time there. But okay. The Bears trail 19-13, and this is where things get dramatic. The ensuing kickoff is returned by Jarius Norwood for 85 yards. How many times have we seen Devin Hester do that to the opponent? Well, Norwood is shredded our special teams now. Where is Dave Tobe when we need him? Fuck. Is he still there? No, wait. I don't think so. Maybe what? Yeah, I think whatever. Point is, Norwood takes it back, but he's pushed out of bounds. It's 19-13. Falcons 6-point lead. That big kickoff has brought out former Denver Bronco Jason Elam. At that point of his career, had made 83% of his kicks inside of 50 yards. This one is from 38. The Bears trail by 6. It's late in the 4th period. Elam is out to kick from 38 yards. It's wide left. Oh, my God. Could the Bears be stealing one from the other side that we always lose? Well, yes. It certainly appeared so. With 13 seconds to go, Rasheed Davis initially was a cornerback in the Arena League and for the Bears, and he got converted to wide receiver, had a big catch on a seam route against Seattle in the 2006 playoff game against the Seahawks in the divisional round. On this day in 2008, Kyle Lorton would hit him in the left corner of the end zone over Chris Houston's head for the touchdown. The Bears lead it 20-19 with 11 seconds to go. The Bears have done it. Lovey's hugging people. Orton's showing his neck beard. They're jacking each other off. Everyone's happy. The Bears have won the game. If they hold on to this, they're going to make the playoffs later that year. There's probably no J trade. And then this happened. Inexplicably, Lovey calls for a squib kick. Okay. So Robbie does that. It's picked up by Waddle's man, Harry Douglas. And, of course, he returns it to midfield. Atlanta has the timeout anyway. Eventually, and again, all this is with 11 seconds left in the game, mind you. Just kick it the fuck deep. Matt Ryan would hit Michael Jenkins on the sideline. He would get out of bounds on Mike Brown. Why is the safety one-on-one with the wide receiver? Who knows? Whatever, it's Lovey. It's the cover two. I like Lovey, but I root for him in Illinois for some reason. Even that, I detest his beard, but Jason Elam comes back on the field. Again, he was 83% inside of 50. He missed one a minute ago. Maybe he's washed up. Maybe he's done. This one's longer. It's 48 yards. And wouldn't you know it, it's good. And with no time left on the clock, Atlanta wins 22-20. No way the Bears should have lost that game. Absolutely ridiculous. Lovie Smith blew this game. And they were fucking celebrating on the sidelines before. It's just, I die fucking grass. Number two was a life lesson. My dad, I told Aldo this story briefly last night. My dad, if you can consider him a football fan, he did enjoy football when it was on. But unlike me and unlike you, he didn't fixate on it during the week. He wouldn't have been listening to Bears Barroom. He watched it when it was on, and he liked it. If he had a team, which I guess he kind of did but didn't, he was a Vikings fan only because he loved Fran Tarkenton. You know, when my dad was young and just came back from Vietnam, Minnesota had gone to 3 Super Bowls in 4 years, and he loved Fran's style of play. I would argue that Fran lost single-handedly Super Bowl 9. If he just plays awful, they beat Pittsburgh, but he played dreadful, atrocious. I don't think they could have beaten the Dolphins the year before. Maybe they could beat the Raiders if Fran played some fucking horrible Super Bowls. But my dad loved him, and anytime the Bears would beat Minnesota, I loved to rub it in. This was a life lesson for me, though. I'm watching the game with him, and I'm very young, and I'm talking shit all the way through it. And I'm stalling because I'm trying to find my notes on the game. Oh, there you go. I'm about to turn 12. I'm only 11. It's October the 4th of 1992. Oh, how about this highlight real quick?
Well within Butler's range. Third and we'll call it 7. Going for the touchdown. Touchdown! What a catch by Waddle! Waddle working on Carly. I tell you what, maybe I got to get that resume back out and say Waddle can beat you down deep with a little fly pattern. But the highlight of that catch is that you saw that layout Desmond Howard made last year at Notre Dame, Michigan. This was just as good. He is completely parallel to the ground. Far corner of the end zone with a couple of defenders on him. Waddle brings it down. 28-yard touchdown. The extra point makes it 13-0. Waddle said the greatest thrill in his career was catching a 37-yard touchdown last year against the Vikings, even more so than his heroic catches for touchdowns in the game's last plays because it meant he could play in this league. Look at this one. Watch that. Never took his eyes off the ball. Carly looked back at the...
Tom Waddle's going to make a fantastic catch over a guy that would coach at a college I used to go to, West Virginia State, Carl Lee. He was West Virginia State's football coach and a Pro Bowler back then with the Vikings. Waddle makes an excellent catch. That was on a 3rd and 7 play. So the Bears are going to have the lead here. 2 guys on Waddle there. Now, let's rewind. The Bears are 2-2. They won opening day. Great Tom Waddle touchdown from Harbaugh on the last play to beat the Lions. But they're coming off of that 1991 year where they could have done something, but in the end would fall short to Dallas after going 11-5. They're 2-2 right now. If you win this game, maybe you get back on track. The Bears are going to have a 20-0 lead. The whole day I'm talking shit to my dad because we had this game on cable. Pardon me. Sorry about that. We had this game. And, of course, I'm like, yeah, the Vikings suck, and, you know, whatever. I would say at 11 years old, I don't know. I wasn't really cussing or anything, you know. But my dad's sitting there taking it. And then there's a play where Jim Harbaugh is told by Mike Ditka to not call an audible, but yet calls an audible. And apparently it was the right call to make, even though Ditka told him not to call it. But, of course, Mr. I don't work out in the offseason, and that's why my hamstrings are always hurt, Neil Anderson, whom I did love back then, number 35, doesn't hear the audible. And as a result, the Bears up 20-0 in the fourth quarter. It is going to be picked off by Todd Scott. Jim Nance, let's hear your highlight. That's right, the Jim Nance, who I'm not a huge fan of, but nonetheless.
Here it goes. Interception, Todd Scott. Touchdown, Minnesota. And look at Ditka getting all over Harbaugh. Todd Scott getting in the end zone. Look at Ditka. I'll paraphrase there. I can't believe you threw that ball. I don't think he was open. What were you thinking? That is really paraphrasing. Well, the Minnesota defense, it was their game to get their team back into it. That was a big one. But you don't expect a gift like that. Trailing 20-0. 37-yard return by Todd Scott. And it's now 20-7 Chicago. Will return to the Metrodome.
And again, suddenly that 20-0 lead vanquishes with the Scott touchdown. And needless to say, the Vikings are going to come back, because I need to hurry this up. The Vikings are going to come back, and they're going to win the game 21-20. The Bears are going to finish this year 5-11. Ditka's going to have a rant on the sidelines that's just so bad. He's so mad at Jim Harbaugh for calling that audible and giving Minnesota the game, because all this is in the fourth quarter, that you could see that he was going to get fired. You remember when the Bears lost to the Packers a few years ago, when Benny Cunningham fumbled and John Fox challenged and then they overturned it? You just knew that day Fox is done. When the Bears went to Green Bay on Sunday night after a bye, losing like 51-7 to the Patriots, and then come out and are down 42-0 at the half at Green Bay, you knew Trestman was going to get fired. Unfortunately, even as a kid, I knew Ditka was done, unless something miraculous happened the rest of the way, and it didn't. And he had the meltdown, and the Bears lost. And my dad, who hadn't said shit all day, he said, "Son, you see? That's why you never, ever boast. You have to be a good winner, too. Got to have sportsmanship when you're winning. And frankly, the Bears deserve to lose this game because of your mouth." That's a paraphrase. I mean, we're talking about a conversation when I was 11 years old. But that's always stuck with me. I never think the games, even like, all these games we've blown would show you that's smart. But I've never, ever forgotten that. And I just never think the game's over. I'm never relaxed. I think at any minute, one play can turn everything. And as I've shown you, it does. It happens all the time. But for my dad there, a life lesson taught by showing me that game. And my dad would be dead in less than a year there. So that was, again, October 4th, 92. My dad died May 7th of 93. So, 10:08. I got to hurry this up. Number one, the number one most paralyzing, agonizing defeat of the monsters of the heartbreak that they are, the Chicago Bears. This one is self-evident, I think. The worst regular season loss in my life. 2013, week 17. Win and you're in. The division is on the line. The Bears could have beaten Philadelphia in week 16 and already won it. Instead, they lost by 150 points. So they come home and they got the Packers. Man, Cutler's legacy could be so different. You think about 11, the thumb, 12, they finish 10-6, don't make it. Even if he makes one more playoff appearance, maybe people look at him differently. And maybe he's not on the fucking farm looking for Big Blue's killer or whatever. I think he said the chicken killer was a raccoon. Is that right? I think Cutler's posting these videos because he's going to be on Monday Night Football. He's trying to show everyone that he's a lot more affable than people give him credit for. But I guess he's just a dick to people that want autographs and selfies. But anyway, winner take all. The Bears are going to finish this game this year 8-8. If they can go 9-7, they'll win the division. The Packers are going to be, I think, 8-7-1 because they had a fucking tie, which is going to help them here because they have one less loss than the Bears. Early on, Cutler to Forte, touchdown pass. The Bears are up 7-3. The big play that early on that just is maddening and changed so much momentum and what could have been, what should have been. Julius Peppers would hit Rodgers and he would fumble and everybody stood around and they looked and they pondered. They thought the play was over, quite honestly. They thought it was an incomplete pass, but a guy named Boykins for the Packers picked it up and he ran it into the end zone and guess what? They called it a touchdown. So it's a fumble when it's convenient. Had the Bears recovered, you know they would have said it was an incomplete pass. I mean, you know it. Even so, the Bears would score again with Matt Forte and be up 14-13. Cobb would score for Green Bay and make it 20-14. And then a play once more that the referees blew. Cutler went deep to Alshon Jeffrey. I got the highlight for this. I'm definitely running out of time here.
Somewhat downplaying the, I don't want to say significance of this game, but he said, I don't want to make it bigger than it is. Well, I mean, it's pretty big when it's a win and end situation. Cutler going to try and pick it up through the air. And he goes deep. He's got Jeffrey. Alshon Jeffrey. Into the end zone. They're going to mark him just shy. Inches away. But 67 yards on third down.
Deep to Alshon Jeffrey. They mark him down. He was in. I don't know how they didn't call a touchdown, but the Bears still scored. And then got the highlight for this one, too. Jay would come back. It was supposed to be a handoff. The whole team thought it was a run play. I heard this on the radio on Juan Sylvie. It was supposed to be a run play. That was the play called, but he gave Marshall a look. So instead of giving Forte the ball, he quickly threw it up in the air. Brandon Marshall twists in midair, catches it. It's a touchdown. Nobody even knows it's going to be a pass except number 6 and number 15. Great moment. Highlight.
Blitz. Pass is caught for the touchdown. Brandon Marshall. What a throw, but what a catch. Are you kidding me? I thought Cutler was just throwing that ball away, and maybe he was. Or just giving Marshall an opportunity. It looked like good coverage. Marshall turns, and this was something else. Tremont Williams is underneath this throw, and actually, you know what, Joe? That looked like it was a design play, maybe that Cutler sees that he's in coverage and just lobs it to the corner, giving Marshall a chance, and he wheels on it, locates it, and makes a heck of a play. Wow.
The Bears are up 28-20, and it's looking like in the fourth period, maybe. Of course, because of that Viking game, I don't think it's over, but maybe they can hold on, maybe they can win this. A guy that would have enormous weight issues, which I have empathy for, Lacey would reverse field and score for the Packers. So it's 28-27, I guess. The Packers had one more drive. Just need one stop, man. The Bears had 3 fourth downs on this drive, and the Packers would convert all of them. On 4th and 44, Peppers would not hold Rodgers in the pocket. Chris Conte on the back. Just play the highlight. Get it out of the way.
The drive. With the game hanging on it on 4th and 8. Blitz. Rodgers gets out. Floats it. Cobb. Touchdown. Randall Cobb.
December the 29th, 2013. And there you go. The Packers win. Randall Cobb, Packers win. The Bears are eliminated. And that was when I marsawed my remote for my DVD recorder, no less. I threw it, broke it, and Marissa was there. And so I have the Bears losing. And she's like, well, if it's broken, it's because you're fucking throwing shit. I mean, you need to relax. It's just a game. So now I'm listening to her come down on me, and the Bears have just lost too. It's devastation, man. I'm telling you, monsters of heartbreak. But I'm trying to get over it. Just like Mike North said I needed to. I don't know what your top 10 regular season games would be, but it would be cool if anyone wants to respond on Twitter and talk about it or whatever. I hope you enjoyed listening to this in some capacity. Hope it's cathartic, not just for me, but for you, I guess. But look, it's 10:14 p.m. I still got to get this to Aldo, and I still have to do my regular radio responsibility here before I go to my other job. But don't forget, and thank you for listening. And I know at the end I just ran out of gas. How many losses can you talk about and still be enthusiastic? I'm sorry. Trying to get over these and have a fresh start. We might not even have football this year. But that was Monsters of Heartbreak. There's another big week coming at the Bears Barroom following Independence Day. Got the Mike North Advantage. He's scheduled to have on another former member of the Chicago Bears. And like Mike's last guest, Mike, of course, is the one who started this one by planting the seed in my head. I needed to get over all this shit. He had Big Ed on from the 63, out of Brenovich from the 63 championship team. Ask him about Khalil Mack. I don't want to talk about that anymore. But this next guest also owns a championship ring. He's going to have a former Chicago Bear from the Super Bowl 20 champions, of course, in 85, January 26th of 86. The show's going to drop July the 8th. So tune in to find out who the Chicago winning player is. I hope it's Jim McMahon. Aldo won't tell me. I would love for it to be Jim McMahon. Mike North likes Jim McMahon, too. Said on I Have a Stream that he's the best Chicago Bear quarterback ever. Because everybody immediately will say, what about Sid Luckman? What about 1940? When they do it, it's like Joe Buck. They're just being dicks, you know. Make sure you listen to all the fine programs here. Fat Mike, I Have a Stream, Shy Fans in the Stands. Who else we got? Of course, the flagship is 100 Proof. We all know that. With Aldo and Draft Dr. Phil and Shane Marsaw. There's so many good shows. Grobstein, man, that show's got me going too. The Twilight Zone theme. Bears Barroom. Dan Aguire, be well. Thank you for listening to my heartbreak and the monsters of heartbreak.
Go Bears!